Welcome, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, the whole entire world. Just kind of like last week, and we'll get into that later. Welcome to Stud and Dud, the first ever podcast. You're going to hear a lot more of these. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Stud and Dud. Get it in your head. Stud and Dud. I am Josh Smith, your sports guru, and always, each week, I'm going to have
Dr. Bob Lawrence.
The man. We're going to come up, I came up with the term for him last week. It was the magician of music. That's too hard to say, honestly. Yeah. We're going to come up with something a little better. And that sounds better. I just thought it sounded funny because it was Eminem, magician of music, or you get my point.
Yeah, it kind of bothered me all week.
I'm sure it did.
You know, it's kind of, I don't know.
I'm sure it did.
There's just something that just doesn't
Didn't sit right.
Yeah, right. You don't get a doctorate degree.
Well, that was definitely a dud moment. And we'll get more into to why this show essentially is called Stud and Dud in just a little bit.
All right, man.
But yeah, Stud and Dud, thank you for listening, everyone. It's an honor to have this, an honor to even be here with you, which we're going to get into in just a moment. But of course, as always, we've got to let people know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to have some interesting music, obviously, topics, because you are the...
Don't say magician of music.
No, but what is it that you do? Come on, you got to tell everyone.
Oh,
I know you're a humble man, but come on,
where
are we at right now?
Hey, we are broadcasting from the beautiful confines of the Dallas School of Music.
Exactly.
Right? And
all created by
Dr. Bob Lawrence.
That's right, my man.
My man. You have to be a stud.
You got to be.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you are stud material. Stud material.
Hey, will you tell my wife that?
Oh, I will. Okay. When she comes in here in a little bit, I'll let her know.
Okay, man.
This guy right here.
Okay.
But no, yeah, Dallas School of Music, so definitely be talking about music. I bring the sports side of it, as you heard, sports guru. I was a sports reporter, analyst, journalist, whatever you want to say, for multiple stations, outlets across DFW and Arkansas, Missouri, so I've covered sports all over. Love sports. Baseball, which you were going to fill me in a little bit more, that's kind of a downfall. I'm not going to admit. I'm going to admit that. Yeah, I love football. I love golf even. Love baseball. I should say love basketball. But when it comes to baseball, trust me, since even the 90s, which I only had like one, Ken Griffey was my man, and I watched the Mariners. But after that, it was like, I didn't watch much baseball. I never did. I played, which was my very first sport I played as a kid. Loved it. But then, I don't know.
It takes an intelligent level.
I know it does, which my brain maybe couldn't.
Right.
I got to go, hey, how far can I hit this golf ball? No. Well, we're talking about sports, talking about music, and certainly food. I love food. Who doesn't love food?
Who doesn't love food?
I love trying new food, cooking food, but we'll be talking plenty of sports.
And what's at every sporting event?
Are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean, or even every music event.
Right.
So those are the three things that we think get people together, involved more than anything. Sports, music, and food have got to bring together. Thanksgiving, what are you doing? As much as you don't want to go see your Uncle Jerry, you're going to go see him because you want that food, and it's bringing everyone together.
Yeah, because Uncle Jerry makes a pretty good fried turkey.
He does. Right. He does. He gets a beer or two down, and Uncle Jerry can cook.
Okay.
And so you're getting some
So
chicken.
you go.
So you go. Certainly go. So you get my point. Food, music, and a little bit of football, or any sport, of course. I was thinking of Thanksgiving, but any sport. You're bringing people together. We love that.
Right.
We're not about the Stephen A's of the world, and we're not trying to tear people apart or tear people down. Yeah. Well, although we'll have some duds, but we're not going to tear the duds down. We're just going to let you know why you was a dud.
Hey, but back to your point, right? You don't go to Jerry's on Thanksgiving Day to watch HGTV.
Exactly.
Oh, come on.
Exactly. Right. We'll get into that too as well. But sports topics, music topic, and we'll have some of these sometimes so you can at least hear us chit chat back and forth, banter. As in, we've got to get to the. Essentially, my point being the Mount Rushmores, which I love doing, of best quarterback, or your favorite football teams, or your favorite, who do we, or the favorite, this food over this food, or we'll have fun debating some topics. Certainly, some days, when Thanksgiving comes, what's your favorite Thanksgiving? Going back to that, but we're definitely going to bring up those topics. So each week we're going to have some topic to talk about, or whether it's some crazy sporting event that just happened. March Madness is coming up,
correct?
So we'll be talking about that a lot,
right?
Certainly in the next 2-3 weeks. Actually. Be talking about that. I shouldn't say that's one of the main topics we'll be talking about.
Hey, that's right around the corner.
Yeah, it's coming.
That's right.
And by the time you're probably hearing this, actually, you get my point. We're going to be wrapped up all about that.
That's right.
We're going to have multiple shows released all on one day, and they're going to be hearing that. Oh, what? Yeah, you're going to have 3 to choose from. Right now, they're essentially, when this is released, you're going to have a couple more to choose from. We don't want to leave people with one show. We want to give them a little taste when we drop the bomb.
That's right.
So we'll have multiple shows. Well, March Madness, where are you going next week that we'll definitely have a show about upcoming?
Spring training, brother.
I mean, I can't believe you're going there each year. I can't believe you bring the kids out there. Talk about that. So talk about Dr. Bob. What do you have?
Oh, absolutely,
Let's talk about the fam.
Oh, absolutely. So, hey, you're going to spend a little time and just kind of brief our listeners on how Stud and Dud came to
fruition? Well, let's go back then if we want to. I just want to let people know what we'll be talking about. We'll have a Stud or Dud segment. Stud or Dud, which we'll get to our Stud or Dud. If I can even say it.
That's a dud right there.
That is Dud moment.
That's
Dud
a dud moment.
It is, hey, Stud or Dud, my friend. We're going to have that segment at the end of the show. Stud or Dud, my friend. But yes, each week we're going to have that segment. We may have multiple Stud or Duds.
Yeah.
Or it may just be one big Stud or Dud at the end of this, and hey, and I'll guess, we're going to have guests.
And the guest can be a Stud or Dud.
That's right, and that's what like I said, we'll get to that, and we might as well, why we call it Stud or Dud. But we'll kind of base a lot of things around the Stud or Dud, whether we have the Stud or Dud segment at the end, or we're going to base it around our guests, where you can get to social media, which, hey, by the way, hold on, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, get out there and follow us, Stud in Dud, STUDN DUD, just
Correct.
Like you say it.
And the website, studanddud.com.
I mean, it's all over. So check it out. Follow us, retweet, Instagram us, hit us up with comments and DMs. Let us know what you want us to talk about, although we probably won't really look at it because we just like to chit chat.
Hey, we don't have coffee mugs yet, do we?
Hey, we're going to get coffee mugs made. We're going to travel. Speaking of spring training, we'll put the show on the road.
Next year.
Not only broadcast live at the Dallas School of Music, but we're going to get out and about.
Oh, absolutely.
Got to get out and about.
No doubt.
Get the people to see these faces. These aren't radio faces, people. I promise you, which we've talked about. These are. I promise you're not gonna look. Oh, we don't want to see those guys in person.
Yeah, right.
We're Mike and Mike. Please get to the side. Even though I know you aren't on ESPN anymore, we'll be taking over soon.
Correct.
3 years from now,
Stud and Dud.
Boom. That's got to be a great open. Stud and Dud.
Who doesn't love Stud and Dud?
And guys will be coming on all the time asking us, who's the Stud or Dud? That's the question of debate here.
That's right.
Stud and Dud. Who is the Dud? Who's the Stud? Well, actually, we're both studs. Let's get it straight.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's what we're going to say.
Well, of course.
But it's up to you
At
to
least
figure
in
out
public.
who's the dud of the week sometimes. But each week.
Well, listen, and just because somebody's a dud doesn't mean we don't love them. Oh, all right? Come on. Right?
In which we'll get to some of their stud or duds here in a little bit, which we'll talk about. And each week. We may have multiple. We may just have one. But you get my point. We're going to have a stud. We're going to have a dud. And it can be the guest.
Correct.
And we're going to let you, and you got to let us know.
Right. If the dud lays, if the guest lays an egg, dud.
Dud. Get them out. I don't want to see him back on the show.
Right.
I mean,
come on.
So, how did we meet? Let's get back. June. Well, let's go back to how it all started. Now I have to at least tell a little bit of my story.
Oh, please.
February. I've always wanted to play the piano. I would say most. Hopefully.
It's not like people. I haven't heard this story before.
Anyway. Okay. Well, I got to let people know.
Right.
But point being, most people probably want to play an instrument. I'd hope that most people want to play a music instrument.
I agree.
Mine was always, kind of guitar, but it was always piano. Was A1A. So last January, a couple years ago, I proposed to my fiance, wife now, whatever. You get my point. Proposed. So after I proposed, and we finally got an event where we're gonna get we've booked our event, and I saw that they had a grand piano there, and I'm like, whoa, wow, this would just be. It all just kind of clicked because my brain sometimes clicks like a stud, and it clicks fast, which it does. I like how I can think fast in the moment. Like, man, I want to start taking piano lessons, but I got to start now. I know I need to.
So that was the catalyst. You saw that grand piano.
That was for February when I saw that, and then so I knew that the spring semester had already started. So as soon as summer starts, I'm getting in right away with the stud of all studs in Dallas, DFW area, to study piano.
Right.
So I hit up Dr. Bob Lawrence.
Keep talking.
Exactly. Love it. Got in June of last year. First met you, Bob, last June. My first lessons. Got my own Yamaha keyboard.
Yep,
still have it at home, jamming out. Still taking lessons here to the day.
Right.
So, of course, my point is I want to play something at the wedding. So, luckily, last year it was an easy song. I knew it was going to be an easy song. At least I thought it was. Is Girls Like You by Maroon 5 and Cardi B.
Good tune.
And it is a good tune.
Good tune.
And I was like, this would be perfect to play. Easy. And then I got to the point where not only I could play it, but then I took lessons down the hall.
Yeah,
to sing.
That's right.
Took a little bit of singing lessons to at least kind of tune up the voice a little bit.
Now, that's a sign of a stud right there, man.
Yeah.
You come in, you start learning piano, and then you go, hey.
Let me get some. And I'm going to go back. I need to get back with her again. I got to get some more.
I'm going to do some singing.
Got to.
And you did it. You pulled it off.
And I mean, it was one of the greatest honors, honestly, in the last few years when you were telling me when I was in front of you and you're like, what's how you're doing? And I was playing it and singing at the same time. And like, that's very impressive for about 4 months in to play a tune and sing at the same time. Which I've heard that from other people when they first start playing. It's hard to, and it is when you start trying to play something and then sing. It is a little more difficult. Which that is an easy song to play. I'm not going to say that was a hard song to play on the piano.
Right.
But.
Well, hey, listen.
The fact that I pulled it off.
To be able to play the chords, to be able to sing, right? And come on, let's give yourself a little credit here. to be under the gun. You knew.
Yeah. Oh,
you knew
exactly.
that-
Yeah.
you knew
It wasn't
there
like
was
a year or two.
Yeah,
I mean, I had
right.
like 6. Well, especially by the time I started, it was June. October was the wedding. October 12th or 13th, I should say.
Right.
Because I got a shout out for this. Her birthday is October 11th. Mine's the 12th. So we got married on the 13th. We just thought it'd be amazing. So point being, yeah, October 13th is the wedding.
pretty neat,
This
man.
is June. Yeah, I love it.
That's
Love
pretty
it.
neat.
That's something we'll always have. So every year which by the way, this year on my birthday, closing out. Globe Life Park, Billy Joel. So yeah, I can't wait to go. But speaking of piano,
So the three of us going?
yeah, let's go. I'll get you tickets. I should say I already got you tickets, Bob. Duh. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, what would be
I mean,
better
it's
than
my birthday. I got you
It's
tickets for my birthday.
Your birthday, your wife's birthday, your anniversary,
Yeah.
and you
Invite the only guy that got us there. You.
You got to bring me along.
Yeah, right. And I'll be like, get him on stage. He can outplay you, Billy. I'll just start calling William all night long. William,
Okay.
you suck.
Yeah, right.
Dr. Bob's so much better.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Anyway, but yeah, so that's how it all started. So playing piano,
Right.
lessons, obviously, and then we kept talking. That's the thing we'd find ourselves doing. I'd walk in, we're talking about this sports subject, or we end up, we close out talking about something, then we're talking for another 20 minutes afterward. And I kind of brought up the idea, man, we should do a podcast. We should just have so many great things to talk about, and who doesn't?
Well, listen, I got to be honest.
I would say when I say who does it, but the fact that we chit chat back and forth so well
Right,
and banter on
right.
these subjects, like there's so many great things to talk about. So
Well, I actually, when you first suggested the idea of a podcast, my initial thought was, man, Josh is crazy. But you know what? I think, to your credit, you have a great idea. What brings people together better than sports and music and food?
and maybe we'll just change the name of that. Sports Music Feud one day. Sports Music Feud.
Right? Exactly. So the more I kept thinking about it, I thought, hey, man, Josh, I think you got a great idea.
Yeah.
I think it's going to work. And so, yeah, it's a thrill. I'm excited.
It was kind of slow. Talked about it first.
Yeah,
and over the
right.
last month and a half.
Yeah.
February of 2019, here we are finally.
Yeah.
Which that was, of course, 2018 when I got in here. But yeah, it just all of a sudden, let's do it. Because literally every day there are days we talk for 30 minutes probably. And so I was like, let's do it.
Well, listen, everybody I mention it to is thrilled about it. They think it's a great idea. They love the name stuff.
And we're gonna, especially when we get these guests on here to go with us to talk once every other couple of weeks about these subjects.
They love it. Everybody thinks it's a great idea. It's funny. I've mentioned this to you before. They said, what are you going to be talking about? I said, hey, man, we're going to be talking about sports. We're going to be talking about music. We're going to be talking about food. And several people have said, what about politics and religion? I cracked up laughing. I said, hey, stud and dud. We don't talk about
We
politics.
want to bring them together, man.
Yeah, we're about bringing people together, right? We're not going to do no. You got to go to a different podcast if you want politics and
exactly.
religion. Because this is going to be about just sports and food and music. A podcast for what? Normal folk.
Exactly, and I like how you put that on there, but exactly, that on the website, which you'll see. Got to get to. Check it out. Check it out.
Right.
Website, studanddud.com, Instagram,
It's there now.
Twitter.
It's
but yes,
live.
Exactly, live. So yeah, when I saw that, exactly. Of course, you have all these certain topics, like where guys are going to dive deep into these subjects on certain podcasts, you look into, and they're going to dive deep into certain things. Whether it's politics or this sport, if it's a sports podcast, and they're going to dive really hard into something and grill them or talk about it for 30, 40 minutes. This is going to be 30 minutes to an hour each week. We'll come up with a time. You get my point. Right now, probably 45 minutes, but we're not going to we're going to talk about a little of this, a little of that. What's going on in our life? Like, what are you doing next week? And once again, what are you doing next week?
Hey, I'm going to be
How
out.
many years have you been doing that?
3 years now.
3 years. What made you want to go out to the?
Well, the boys got old enough, right?
And speaking of which one is now really getting into baseball?
My oldest son, he's a sophomore in high school, and he's doing quite well. He's at Jesuit College Preparatory School and plays on the baseball team there.
Go Hogs!
Yeah, right.
I got, which was great. He's already got visits all over. One of them was University of Arkansas, so that's where I went to school. So of course I am pushing.
Yeah, he's looking at.
Look at that baseball program, baby.
I have to tell
very
you,
consistent.
I'm very impressed.
Dave Sanhorn, by far one of
Very
the top
impressed.
10 head baseball coaches or managers, whatever you want to call them, in the last 20 years in college baseball.
It's so impressive. The Arkansas baseball program is so impressive that if I tell everyone, if you haven't been there, they got to go check it out, because I think it's like one of the hidden secrets in the country, quite honestly. Because you think University of Arkansas, most people will think, what first? Football.
Exactly.
But the reality of it is that baseball program has had more success
than any of the other programs.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Certainly so, because basketball's been down since the 90s. Had that. Well, 90s had 70s, 80s, and 90s. That great run. Football it's always been there. It kind of has its dips and kind of comes back. If you never think baseball over the last 20 years.
When you got guys like Dallas Keuchel, who played there. You got Chris, who's the pitcher, the Phillies guy, Lee.
Cliff Lee.
Cliff Lee played there. You got Andrew Benintendi,
for the Boston Red Sox.
World Series champion.
Yeah, exactly. I remember I've watched a lot of him when he was at the University of Arkansas.
They have had a lot.
And then last year, literally a catch away, he dropped it. I mean, I literally was in a bar. We've talked about that so much, but literally a catch away from winning the College World Series.
But there's no question, a lot of studs.
Coming out of Arkansas,
a lot
baseball.
of studs in baseball.
Or even just out of the state.
That's right.
I mean, there was another one besides Cliff Lee. I forgot there was another pitcher, man.
There's a ton of them.
But there's been a couple where...
It's like a Hall of Fame up there of players.
Exactly. So, point being, back to baseball, you're going to spring training next week.
Yep.
You've been going the last 3 years.
Yep.
Kids getting old enough, I guess, finally to go and enjoy it.
They got old enough to go out there to be able to really enjoy it. We go to the ballparks. We try to take in as many of the parks as we can, see as many of his teams, go to practices, watch the teams practice, get autographs.
No shower, all food,
no,
right?
No, yeah, we don't shower. We don't bathe.
Right.
No, we bathe in the swimming pool.
Right. Oh, man. Because like I was saying, I can't imagine next week it's got to be 85-ish there, probably 80,
correct,
85.
85, 90. We take one set of clothes, man. We go in and come out with the same clothes. It doesn't.
I was going to say, opening day is March 28th is the earliest day.
Yeah,
ever.
That's right.
Ever.
It's right
March
around
28th.
Around the corner. So look, you got March Madness coming up. You got opening day in baseball. Come on.
Which literally I keep forgetting. March 28th. That is now just going to happen. I keep forgetting that. Which we decided upon, which is fine with me. We're going to go ahead and drop 3 shows at once on today, April 1st.
Right.
April Fool's Day. It's not March 28th anymore. It is April 1st. As far as I'm concerned, it needs to be April 1st. I need to have that mindset.
Right.
But yeah, opening day is what just happened then, essentially. March 20, which is just crazy to think. March 28th, opening day, earliest ever.
Right.
Because it just sometimes it's like Easter this year is like April 20th. I just used to think as a kid, it just seemed like it was so much earlier. Point being, Easter just seems so late this year.
Right. That's right. Well, quick prediction, man. World Series champion this year. Who's it going to be?
Oh, geez.
Come on, man. Predict it right now so we can look back on this in October and see how brilliant you are.
Yeah. Well, how about we give myself like one extra show?
Oh, okay. To think about it?
Yeah, right. Let me do some diving into the MLB world. And a lot of the thing is, it's the second. A lot of it is, I know you'll have. I guess you're going to have your like any sport. You're going to have 4 front runners.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb right now, man. I don't need an extra show.
Go.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
Well, okay.
You heard it here first on Stud and Dud.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. You ready? Right. The Washington Nationals will be the World Series champions this year.
That'd be something. That'd be huge for Washington D.C. That's for sure. Yeah. They need a championship.
Yeah.
Man, there you go.
And they got stiff competition, but I don't know. I'm just sensing it.
All right.
I'm just sensing it.
Trust me. I'll get a little bit further in, even for the NBA, I should say, till I even pick any kind of champion. We'll do that for sure. First of the year, we've got to start doing that for the show. Certainly, first year the predictions.
Got to go out on a limb. And
then we should do mid-year projections. Like say, okay, X-nay une on the Washington Nationals. I'm going with Oakland A's the rest of the year. That's my final pick.
Oakland A's?
I'm saying as if mid-year we can maybe change our pick.
Oh, I see.
Say,
you know what?
That's still. I know we're going to go with that. But we'll do like a mid-season pick. Like okay.
So you're talking about a mulligan?
Not a mulligan. I'm saying we're still picking if you're Nationals, if that's what you want to stick with, even at mid-year, you can.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying you're not changing it, but you can come up with a new champion. Like okay, Washington
Nationals.
That's a mulligan.
It's taking a shot over again.
I'm not saying you're still. Hey, I guess it is in a way.
Come on, come on!
You're gonna have a different perspective.
Don't dance around.
You're gonna have.
You're like my youngest son. Whoever wins the World Series, that's his favorite team.
Well, that's not me in any sport. That's Denver Broncos are bust in any sport. So if the Denver Broncos aren't playing in the MLB, guess what? I ain't cheering for any MLB. Okay. Let me just tell you right now, which we'll get to that. Obviously, it shows that in the bio. It's Denver Broncos are bust for me. So even over the Arkansas Razorbacks, which I laugh at and just kind of gander at anymore.
Finding a Denver Bronco fan, that's like finding some archaeological find somewhere, isn't it? I mean, really? Come on.
Are you kidding?
Are you serious?
They by far the top 10 fan bases in the NFL.
Yeah, if you go out on the street and you ask 100 people, how many people are going to say, who's your favorite NFL football team? I bet you.
Here? No. Yeah. If you're in North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado.
Well, of course.
So 6 states. Oh, just those 6 states. Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Oh, just 6 states.
You go to Florida and you ask somebody who their favorite football team is. You're going to 100 people. I guarantee you, several of them are going to say Dallas Cowboys.
And I guarantee you, 100 people, 75 of those 100 people aren't even from Miami or Dallas or Florida, wherever you're asking from. Florida, be like here. I'm not from here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
You get my point. When you get into that big of a population,
so you're saying that
you're dealing with people that could be from a different country.
Yes.
Honestly, especially in Florida, you got people from India, probably people from China, people from Mexico.
Well, you don't have that in Wyoming.
That's my point. So that's why your fan base is so strong there.
Okay.
Down here, you'll have a couple of Broncos fans. Okay. Let me tell you this, and it is a true stat, and it's the longest consecutive in the NFL. Denver Broncos have had sellouts. They sell out in like a minute, literally. Well, probably within like an hour. They've had consecutive sellouts since 1970 something, the longest streak in the NFL. Not the Cowboys can't say that. They haven't sold out since They have sold out every game since 1970 something. Tell me another even organization. There isn't one.
Well, there's nothing to do in Denver, right?
Oh my gosh, here we go.
I mean, what else?
What's there to do in Kansas City, Missouri? I'm just saying. I've been there. I live right outside of it.
All right. Okay.
What's there to do? I can say that about a lot of cities, but by far one of the best fan bases there is, and guarantee you it's one of the top. It's one of the top 5-ish NFL organizations of all time.
So how does an Arkansas guy become a Denver Bronco?
I'm glad you bring it up. Exactly. Yeah. My dad was out there, worked in the military, and my brother eventually he met his first wife and had Tommy, my half brother, and then late 80s, and literally the first love of my life was sports. Literally 88-ish, I remember watching Orange on the TV. Those Orange, back looking now, I mean, I love them now. But back in the day, they were kind of hideous, but now, kind of because they're throwback, they look cool to me. God, but point being, Elway, because it's, like we've talked about before, name a surrounding cast that he had. I mean, until they got Terrell Davis and a great running crew, he was never really surrounded with a lot of good talent.
Yeah, who won the 1977 Super Bowl? Who was that?
77 was before Elway got there. That was the Cowboys over the Broncos. And another quarterback that wore number 7, his last name was Morton. I forgot his first name, but his first name
Craig
Morton. There you go. See how I wasn't even born in 77. And let me I know NFL, okay, brother. That's what you're gonna have to fill me in on some MLB juice.
Okay.
But anyway, back to 84 when I was actually born, and those Super Bowls we got blowed out in that I really don't remember because I was too young.
Okay.
It was still nice to get one of the only organizations to have back-to-backs. So we will say that
right,
97, 90. But yes. Anyway, that was my first love. I'll never forget watching Elway and the Broncos. Oh my gosh, even because they weren't that great, but every year, that's my point. Even when they weren't great, that's how I knew I was a Bronco. I was like, oh.
Yeah, Elway went through some lean years there, bro.
Oh, bad. He was like great. Those first few years, all the Super Bowls, and then like the mid-90s was like 90 to 95. It was like, boy, he's getting beat up.
Yeah.
He has no talent really.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Shanahan came along, Mike Shanahan. I mean, which you got to give him his due. He was definitely a great creative offensive mind in the 90s, and they got that running game going. And Terrell Davis, a pick among all picks. And short story that may not know, Terrell Davis was about to leave. It was rookie year. I think it was the third preseason game there. They played that Japan game over in Tokyo. He wanted to leave. He was like fourth on the string, wasn't getting any PT. He was like, I'm done. Like literally wanted to fly back. Literally didn't have enough money to fly back, so he could. Yes, so he had to stay for the game. This is all you can watch NFL films. I've
hilarious.
Seen. Yes.
So he goes, I'm going to run away, and then he got outside and he realized.
So that game, he has
away.
to play the game. So they put him in about midway through the game. It was sometime through the game for kickoff coverage. He goes down, and I can look it up right now. I wish I could. Eventually, we should get this where I could just pull it up real quick for you.
Yeah, right.
Because we're filming the show, by the way, which we'll put on YouTube. Anyway. Lays the guy out. Everyone goes berserk. Oh my God, who's that? Who was that? Even Shannon Sharp, they kind of show him. He gets off the bench. Man, who was that? Oh, that was the Rook, TD. Next thing you know, he somehow, I don't know how he escalates up the running back chart from there. I guess he may have got running play PT in that game and ran a little bit. Next thing you know, he was the starting running back, ran for over 1,100 yards that rookie season, and then. Yeah. But that's crazy. So never give up, people.
He was definitely a stud.
He wants super stud, and you get more, especially for that short period till he tore his ACL and MCL, and then.
Yeah, he didn't have a long career.
Because that's why 99 Elway left. It was crazy. It's crazy what he talks about. How I started my career is how it ended my career. Started his career with the big boom. How it ended, he literally. Greasy threw it in because that was his. Greasy was the new heir apparent to Elway at the time. Threw an interception. Against the Jets, and then he tries to make a tackle to the guy that literally intercepted it and does make the tackle going out of bounds, but his own player, like an lineman, nails him at the same time and nails his knee. And you could tell, but you're hoping one of those things that it was like, hoping it was in a sprain because it was one of those, because it wasn't significant like bad, like, where it looked like, oh, he's done. It was like, oh, maybe it was just a sprain because it went inside, it went to one way.
Not like, worse than it looked.
Exactly, but yeah, when it came out what it was like, oh, because he'd always kept trying to come back, but it would always... Nowadays, you can come back. It's crazy how they can come back from some of that.
So what I'm picking up here is that I got to be very careful when I bring up Denver Broncos because you can go off. You can go off, and then all of a sudden it becomes a Denver.
Sometimes at least I have.
Then all of a sudden it becomes a Denver Bronco podcast.
Well, hey, yeah. Anyway, at least I have some significant, incredible knowledge, and it's not like I'm like, "Hey, man, go Hogs." trust me, you get to Arkansas and you hear some of these guys that call into the radio shows, and you're like, really? That's your argument? I can't even. You're just like, wow. Yeah, you need to be head coach. Why don't you go head coach then?
Right, yeah.
Or you start at Little League.
That's a scary thought. I don't even want to think about that.
Anyway, but yes, love the Broncos. And the other joy, which is crazy, are you from Chicago?
I'm outside of Chicago. A couple hours.
Born?
No.
Okay, born where?
A little place called Rock Island, Illinois. You know the Rock Island Lines? Johnny Cash?
Oh,
Come on, man. Johnny Cash?
Johnny Cash was born in Arkansas. You do know that, though, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I did not
born
know
in
that.
Arkansas.
Well,
yeah.
you know the Rock Island Lines. Johnny
That's
Cash,
crazy.
right? The railroad, right?
Yeah.
This
is bringing us together, but Johnny Cash was born in Arkansas.
Well, see, and Johnny Cash, one of the
nuts.
biggest country stars of all time.
Glenn
right?
Campbell, born in a lot of good country singers are born in Arkansas. Go ahead.
So anyway, Rock Island is where I grew up. It's a couple hours west of Chicago. Yep. But hey, listen, I have
Bears.
The Cubs, right?
Cubs.
Man, I'm going to tell you one of my fondest memories. Growing up in Rock Island, Illinois, my grandpa picked me up. We'd go down to the train station. We'd get on the Rock Island lines, the train, take us right into downtown Chicago.
Oh,
We'd get off the train right there at
You get you a hot dog?
Oh, my gosh. Listen, man. We'd get off the train, Wrigley, right there, walk to Wrigley Field, watch the Cubbies, get back on the train with Grandpa, come back home. Brother,
I bet that whole day probably only cost like $10 too or something back. Or whatever it was. You know those days where you hear like how does it, it's crazy how just stuff.
Yeah.
Especially ticket prices.
But can you imagine, right?
Oh,
man,
as a kid?
I'm only like 10 years old. A train ride and a baseball game with Grandpa.
Oh, yeah.
Hot dogs.
Yeah.
Basically anything you want.
Heaven.
Because Grandpa's going to buy it for you. You want a hot
Heaven.
dog? There, you want ice cream?
Those are the best dogs, too. I've had them at every ballpark, and I will give you that for sure.
Right.
Ballpark, baseball ballpark, over NFL, NBA.
Oh, there's no question about it.
I mean.
Yeah, I don't know what they do, but you know.
I'm right. I'm like, wow.
I don't know what they do, but that's.
Oh, God.
That's why I can't
I
wait.
used to love getting those Frosties and the little, they had the little mini, the helmets, like the little. I remember seeing the Cubs all the time.
They still do that.
Yeah, little mini helmets.
That's classic. It's a classic.
Oh.
So yeah, you're getting me hungry, man, because you're talking about this, and
you're about to be there on Sunday. Give me a break. You're about to be in heaven for a few days. I wish I could just do that for 4 or 5 days.
Oh my God! Hey, well, next year. There you go.
And I'm ready. I am ready. So. Anyway, back to Broncos, and then when did you get out of Chicago? That's what I know. Me and the Broncos. I'm going to bring up why I love Chicago.
Well,
when did you get out of there?
1984.
Wow, so right before the Bears won the Super Bowl, huh?
Well, that's exactly right. In fact, I went to the Bears Cowboys.
So the year I was born, even, eh? 84.
Oh, you were born in 84?
Yeah.
Oh well, see, dude, I was already going to sporting events, and you were pooping your britches, man.
Well,
that's what.
I was basically writing about them already. I promise. Remember the '77 Super Bowl? I was just telling you about.
Okay.
I was kind of Morton.
Yeah, right.
And Dad was like Craig.
Right.
Like you did. But yes, no. That's so. I not the Bears so much, but growing up, and a lot of kids didn't either. Loved him or you hated him, honestly. Which more loved him? Michael Jordan. I mean, didn't even love the Bulls. He just came out of nowhere. And in the early '90s, I remember having probably the Sixes that came out in '93, I think it was the Sixes I got were my first pair. But the shoes always had, of the commercials, even in the 80s and 90s. It's got to be the shoes.
Want to be like Mike.
Want to be like Mike, the Gatorade commercial.
It's still a classic. It's the best.
It's still, and
it's
how much he's still, it is. I love
that. Every once in a while, I'll go to YouTube and I pull it up and just listen to it. Man, it's just awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's just awesome.
Oh, yeah. And the old bottles they used to be in.
Oh, my gosh.
But yeah, he was so dominant, so amazing. So I loved him, loved his shoes. He brought something. I mean, Bird and Magic really elevated the game, and then he just took it to the whole next level, international level.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
best thing that ever happened to Houston is when he went to play baseball.
Right. Lucky you guys. Oh, I wish we could have got I wish we got 8 in a row. Oh, just to especially shut up the whole greatest of all time talk, which we can get to in another show with LeBron. But yeah, certainly love Jordan still to this day. And like I said, you see, I literally probably have. I hadn't counted. It's been a while, but I remember at one point got up to about the 70-ish pair of his. I'm probably down in the 50s now, honestly, because I've sold some.
You know how Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player of all time? Because he never goes around saying he's the greatest basketball player of all time.
Exactly.
I mean,
he may make like a smirk every once in a while, kind of like, but he's not gonna be like LeBron. Like there was that video in the past few months that came out.
That's my point.
Oh, he was watching himself play. Going, that's what made me the best ever.
Correct.
What?
That moment.
What?
Yeah. Please.
How many L's you got now?
Yeah, please.
How many times you got to go to Game 7?
I just have a problem.
I just have a problem. How many times did you score 3,000 in a season?
Right.
How many times did you win offensive and defensive player in the same offensive and defensive MVP in the same season? I can keep going on. How many times did you win 3 straight? Yeah. How many times did you have to go to another team? Oh, that's right. That's one for you now. You had to go. Okay. Cool.
Correct.
You got one now.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah, we'll say that for another show.
Yeah. So, anyway. But
That
speaking
could
of
be
which.
an entire show.
Yeah. Which the NBA season's really starting to wind down at this
Correct.
point. Golden State, and which I never would have thought, speaking of a love I guess I could have had with the Denver Nuggets, but Denver Nuggets, where'd they come from this year? Battling out West for the number 1 seed.
I know it.
Which is crazy. So you got those two teams really taking shape, and then LeBron, they're out. I mean, they're done. I mean, you get my point. Wow.
Yeah.
He's just giving up.
He won't be in the finals this year.
Yeah. No, sorry. That was a dud move.
Anyway,
Anyway, but he did pass Michael Jordan, speaking of both of those guys, in points all time finally. And I forgot to break it down how many more games and how much longer it took him, but he did finally pass him.
Well,
in
and
points
that's
all time.
with Jordan missing 2 of his prime years.
That too. And then taking 2 or 3 years off before he went back to the Wizards. And that would have been the amount of time LeBron's played.
Right.
So imagine those 2 prime seasons plus the seasons he didn't take off with the Wizards.
Right.
And imagine if everyone comes back, and I wish they would have just to make it a 4-peat, which they probably easily could have gotten because they would have had to play a younger, because that was the first Spurs championship. You don't think they could beat the Spurs? That was their first one.
Right.
They was a young team.
Right.
Yeah. MJ's like, let me get one more and I'm good. Well, I say that. But point being, imagine if he comes back and wins. So, I mean, imagine if because of course that's why he retired, but imagine if he has Pippen. He's got that same prime core.
Right.
So anyway, but yes, I'm like, of course you're finally passing him. Next on the list, though, for him is Kobe, I think, but good for him, though. I mean, hey, he has had a great career. I hate to bash LeBron like he's not. He is a great player. He's definitely,
of course,
one of the greatest of all time.
Course.
Not the GOAT, but you got to put him up there. He's got to give him his due.
There's no doubt about that.
He is a beast, and that's what I've always said, though, too. I'm like, man, imagine Michael Jordan that size. Jesus. Jayas. He would have averaged 74 game probably. Right. If he wanted to. Right. Anyway, but this weekend, speaking of which, you're going to, well, I know this is now kind of in the past, but you're spring training. You went to spring training.
I went to Phoenix with
You
the
did
boys.
go to Phoenix.
Right.
I, in the meantime, saw Captain Marvel.
Oh, nice.
And I'll let you know, tease that for the next show, how that was. Because
Nice.
I'm a big movie buff. And that's one thing I almost want to put on the bio and for us to talk about. We got to talk about movies.
Absolutely.
Entertainment of any sort.
Entertainment. Yeah,
the TV world's just blowing up.
We're
with
going to
Netflix,
throw that under the music.
Yeah, it's kind of
label.
like under the radar, but of course you got to talk about that. I mean, especially these days. And that's another thing I'd love to do eventually. Try to write it. You just got to start. It's like writing. I remember back in college, even writing an essay. You know, the 20-page. You're like, oh, how am I? 25 pages. How am I going to do? You know. And then you got to page 3 or 4, and next you're just flying. You know, then you're flying. You're doing. You know, it just was starting. It's like, how am I gonna? But Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. I mean, there's all these different outlets, YouTube. I mean, there's so many TV outlets besides just cable. Oh, man, I want to write a show so bad. I want to so bad, even if it's just like a 2 or 3.
Well, you need to do that.
Oh, my, I know I need to.
need
now
to
that
do
I got
that.
on the music scene, I want to kind of get the, you know, you can only do some, that's what I've always said. I wish there was like 3 of me.
Yeah, but there's, well,
you know what I mean?
Wait
So
a minute,
so this guy could be doing the TV music or whatever, and
I
this
was
guy
going
could
to
be
just
doing
say
music.
that's a scary thought right there, dude.
It is. The world probably does not need
No,
more than
we do
one
not
of me.
need, no.
Anyway, so we'll definitely be talking NBA. We'll be talking about movies, and I went and saw Captain Marvel, which I'll talk about that next show, and talking about multiple movies. Back to the movies, though, real quick. Captain Marvel, love the Avengers series. Have you watched any of these movies? Any of the Marvel series? Like, so Iron Man, Thor, the Avengers, Captain America.
I got boys, man. Superheroes. Are you kidding me?
So yes.
Yeah.
Your take on them?
Good.
You like them? Entertaining,
Yeah,
just because it's just
right.
the action, the view.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. Exactly.
You see a movie now. I mean, like literally, especially compared. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just like wow, like
Yeah,
crazy. It looks so real for the most part.
Correct. It's very different than Batman in 1970s.
Exactly, or anything from even the 90s. Honestly, you go back and look at some of the stuff in the 90s,
Right.
and you're
I know. It's funny, isn't
you're
it?
like, wow, I thought that was amazing in the 90s. So that's what I'm saying. I can imagine 20 years from now, we're gonna be like, wow, I thought that was
Yeah.
amazing in 2020,
Exactly.
essentially.
Right.
Even 2010.
Right.
That kind of we're starting that same period, but. NBA coming up, March Madness, we'll talk about that. LeBron, got to get to him one day. I've got that on the list. But NFL taking shape. Speaking of which, by the time we'll do this in the next show, we've got episode 2 of Stud and Dud. Got to get into some of this NFL. Well, of course, we're going to get into, I think that'll be 2 things. Spring training,
Yes.
Get some baseball talk. NFL season's going to be officially underway. Literally, the March 13th is the kickoff, just so you know.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's crazy to think that's when the official season kicks off is March 19th.
I didn't.
Or I should say 19th, 13th. Because remember on February 13th when I came in here around that same time period, who the Denver Broncos signed? Like, man, they can't officially make it happen for a month. Denver Broncos signed Joe Flacco on February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day.
Got it.
And I remember that going, they can't even make it official for a month from now.
Right.
So anywho, and some of the coaches, a lot of them wish they'd wait till after the draft. because it does this month and a half kind of messes things up beforehand. It kind of creates chaos. And anyway, regardless, leagues open up March 13th. So we'll definitely have to get into that in the coming shows.
Very good.
Because there'll be so much going on. Where's Antonio Brown going? Which almost was just reported, which obviously we'll talk about. Where's Antonio Brown going? Where is Le'Veon Bell? Nick Foles? All these names, I mean, will be in big. There's a DeMarcus Lawrence for the Cowboys. I think he may have got franchised by the Cowboys. But there's a lot of big names out there to talk about.
Did you hear about the Cowboy this morning? Is it Irwin? No, Irvin?
Michael Irvin?
No.
No, I was like, kidding me, Michael Irvin.
No, the linebacker, the defensive guy who quit on Instagram.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
What's his name, man? Look that up.
Cowboy that quit on Instagram.
Because this is clearly a dud right here, man.
Man.
This is clearly a dud.
Cowboy quits on Instagram.
Yes. Who is that? I saw it this morning while I was enjoying a taco at Fuzzy's Tacos.
Huh. Maybe was it fake? I'm not saying. I says Cowboys quits quotes. It says quotes. I said quits. Come on here. Dud moment. David Irving. Wow, there you go. Former Cowboys defensive end David Irving quits football while smoking weed on Instagram. There you go, buddy. Go out in style. Go out in flames. You know what I'm saying? Go out on a high note.
We don't even have to have a vote on that, right?
Yeah, right. That's certainly. We might as well get into that. Literally stutter dud.
Oh my gosh.
Well, everyone, let's get into the stutter dud segment this week. It's about 10 minutes of the show closed. We might as well jump right in.
Yes, absolutely.
David Irving, though, literally quitting on Instagram. Smoking weed. And literally, what a way to go out on a high note. Yeah. I mean, literally, how is that not going to be on the front page?
And check it out. He's only, 25, 26 years old?
I mean, kid, That's
just stupidity.
It's the world we live in now. I mean, literally, You sometimes want to want to smack these people and what are you doing? You're giving away essentially millions. That people
right.
And then you're just like, hey, that's what you want to do. Then go on, have fun figuring out what you're gonna do in the next step of life.
Yeah. So there's not much to say there other than dud, man.
Dud, certainly a dud moment.
Dud.
And I know that's something that we kind of brought up, and I kept saying that earlier. And people were probably, what were they talking about last week? Well, last week or the last show, we were gonna have a first show and we messed up.
Yeah, we did. We
had a great first show. And one of my first, like anyone, you're going to create a podcast and you're going to just release, and that I was going to say it was a dud on both of us. We got to bring this up, stutter dud moment. Got to, if it's a stutter dud segment, you got to bring this up. Got to. But anyway, so point being, last week, and like anyone, when you release a podcast, you're just one at a time. And I've done a little research, so that's why we're going to boom. April 1st, which is today, you're seeing that we have 3 to listen to. Listen to them, hit up our social media, etc. Well, at first, like everyone, let's just drop. We're going to drop one at a time. Drop one, boom, release it, and then keep dropping one at a time. But then I kind of came up with the idea after last week to go, hey, let's, and the reason why. Let me get to it. So last week, the dud moment that we had, we recorded a whole show. Boom, sounded perfect. Yeah, we were happy, jumping and jiving, high-fiving, whatever you want to say. Get over and go, kind of listen to what we captured, okay? For whatever reason, dud over here. I'm just kidding. Definitely both studs. But we both had dud moment because we didn't really check. We forgot to switch one of the mics on, so we were both running off my mic.
Correct.
So it sounded like I'm here, like I do, like right now.
And I sounded like,
hey, Doc, you over there? I mean, and those probably don't even do justice. I mean, it sounded like he was in the remote. I had him chained up in the corner. He could only talk when I wanted him to. So we were like, hey, and I kind of went back to see if I could, edit it in post and see if I could actually do something with it. And I amplified him, but even amplifying it, it just still didn't sound right. So we're like, hey, let's start over. We got one show under our belt. Next week will sound that much better. And then in that meantime, that will give us more. And then, like I said, came up with the idea, hey, I kind of looked it up online. Let's just let's get 3 under our belt. We drop everything on April 1st. We kind of tease it on the way there to April Fools. Are we going to, the release stutter, whatever I come up with. Drop 3 shows on April 1st. Give us more time, like you to work on the website, me to get on the social media end, and then we can kind of laugh at the first one.
I think it's great.
So now this is number 1. We got a couple more to listen to today. I hope everyone enjoyed the first podcast, but that was certainly last week's dud moment of duds.
No
Because we
doubt.
had some other stutter duds we talked
but it
about.
could've been
Like
a lot-
Jason Witten. We talked about Jason Witten last week.
Yeah, stud.
Stud all time. Was the move to go to quit for a year to go to Monday Night Football. We don't know what that was all about, but that definitely a weird
Well, it was
moment.
definitely a stud move to leave the broadcast booth.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, it was. Because he was a dud in. He was definitely a dud in there.
Not good for his image right
Yeah,
there.
no, it just wasn't enthusiastic at all. It was very, anyway. And the other big name we brought up last week was Robert, because that was really big in the news in early March. And still is, because point being, right now, essentially did just happen, and we'll talk about that, certainly so, was his arraignment hearing. He has to go to it. Remember, he pleaded not guilty. A lot of these times when you plead not guilty and it's a small crime, you don't have to show up. Well, they're making him show up.
How are you not guilty when you're on video?
I know. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that is just something. We talked about that
It's
last
not
week
me.
with this
That's not
guy.
me.
He's a billionaire, too. What's he doing in there?
Oh, my gosh.
I just don't get it. And he's been seen handing out bills, Benjamins, literally,
Yeah.
to these ladies twice in 24 hours before the AFC Championship game. Super dud.
It's such a dud moment.
I mean, and I'm not trying to, he's a decent looking guy for an older man. It's not like he's like all wrinkly and haggard, like he looks like he's been through he used to play for
yeah, but how old is he?
Megadeth.
How old is he? 80?
Yeah, he's probably older too. That's my point. It's not like he's. That's my point. Look at these guys back. Who was oh my gosh, I can't forget her. How am I forgetting her name? The blonde girl in the '90s who married the old guy. She had a TV show, The Big Blonde. She was a playgirl.
Lonnie Anderson.
No, no, God, the blonde girl in the '90s. She had a
Oh,
TV.
Farrah Fawcett.
Well, exactly.
Come on, is this who you
No.
thought-
Well,
Mike, come on,
there was
man.
one that. What was her name? And Avery, we used to watch her TV show on E.
You got to get a lot better with names.
Blonde
bro.
hair, the fake big boobs. She was on Playboy. She married the old guy, and then he died. And everyone was saying, she was saying, I love him. I love.
She died.
She eventually died. She had the son, and they had that whole problem, and
right.
it was like, whose son is it?
Right, yeah.
She overdosed. Everyone will probably be like, oh, they're saying her name to us offline,
Right.
or listening to us
Yeah,
right now.
I know.
You know exactly.
Yeah.
She was married to this 80-year-old guy. That's my point. Where you know what I'm saying? It's not like it can happen.
So Kraft is handing out Benjamins for what, like 30 seconds of fun?
Yeah, exactly. Because remember he was seen in. Yeah, he was seen in there only for 10, 15 minutes. He wasn't seen in there. So I mean, he's got to. There's stuff. It's not like you're straight to the table. I mean, he's getting in there. He's probably got to get a little time before he's undressed. I mean, that's only 5 minutes of work, Kraft. What you can?
Yeah, listen, it's such a dud moment that I don't even want to eat mac and cheese anymore.
Exactly right.
Right, I'm done. No more mac and cheese.
I don't even know if I want to get a massage anytime soon.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna feel bad. I'm just like
correct.
Robert Kraft has done this whole business wrong.
Yes, that's right.
Anyway, so he's got to go to his hearing.
Yes.
So that is on March 28th. That just happened. So that's another thing we're going to be getting into and more shows and seeing exactly where this leads.
I got to see.
But certainly a dud moment for Robert Kraft.
No doubt. I got to see how that plays out.
Oh.
I'm innocent when
That's
you're on
funny
video.
you say that, how that plays out.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes.
Here, and just a quick one, of course, which now the draft is coming up, end of April.
Yes.
Kyler Murray
Yes.
decides to go.
Dud.
It's
a dud move.
Yeah.
He's
Decides
not a
to go
dud.
NFL
He's a
over
stud.
MLB.
He's a stud, but that's a dud move.
Reasons.
Well, I don't think no.
Give the main one, which we both kind of agree on, the longevity.
I think longevity.
And health.
That's right. I think his size, it's not to say, look, Drew Brees is not a big guy.
Russell Wilson, who's the most comparable. They're just about an inch, a little less than an inch apart
Correct.
in height.
So,
but Russell Wilson's got a little more girth on him.
But I don't know, man. I guess I'm just thinking, and Wilson could have played pro baseball.
Oh, certainly. I remember that. Yeah, he was definitely a good baseball player. Wasn't a first-round draft pick, but certainly still could have played. That's why, and like we've talked about, and we know why. I mean, anyone that's listened to this knows why.
But
it's a limelight. It's that first-round draft pick. Everyone's watching that first night. That first-round draft pick that comes with it, the money.
Yes.
So you're already going to get like a $20 million deal,
Right.
essentially, especially if he gets picked in the top 5 or 10, which a lot of people are saying he's going to, which he could be pick number 1 overall. Cliff Kingsbury at Arizona, who used to coach at Texas Tech, Oklahoma, so they're in the same league.
Yeah.
Not that he was, because he was. You get
Yeah.
my point. He knows. He sees it essentially.
Okay. Well, listen.
So if he goes number 1 overall, but that's my point. I agree with you. It does suck that you have to go to baseball and work your way up in the farm system. But once you do, and you prove yourself at 24 years as a 26
He's got a long
years,
career.
then you get that
Guaranteed
contract for 2 double the amount you're ever going to get in the NFL.
Correct.
Which is half guaranteed. Oh, by the way, some of the time not even half. It's right around half. Sometimes more, a little less.
Right. I don't know.
But the health, like you said, the size of the health,
Yes.
the size of the longevity. So both of those kind of go with his, which maybe his size does pull it off. But we've looked at others before, like you said, RG3.
RG3.
Who plays at that kind of, which we've seen a lot of RG3, unfortunately, though. He did take, I've seen, point being, little man Kyler likes. I seen he dashes out of bounds a lot. He doesn't take those hits. He gets out of bounds quick, which he needs to. He does that. Which they're gonna have to tell him. That's gonna save your longevity. I just don't know if he has that Patrick Mahomes. I can get out of the pocket. Russell Wilson. I can get out of the pocket and make like that arm throw, because we've talked about that before. They have arms that would seem like the size of ours, but can cannon it 70 yards the opposite side of the field. You get from the right side to the left hash mark, like it's nothing, and you're like, how do you just do that?
Yeah, I'm just
on the money, by the way, too, not just launch it.
I'm just going off a hunch. My hunch when RG3 was going to go pro, my hunch was he ain't going to make it.
Yeah.
My hunch when Johnny Manziel was going to go pro, I was
right there with you.
I'm not going to make it.
And a lot of that's to do to his character, but right there with you, his playing style.
Right. And so I just have the same hunch.
And a lot of that, to me, even like Brady, you have to, anyone ever, for the most part, except for maybe good, even sometimes good runners, you have to go to a good system. No matter who you are, for the most part, you have to be. Right. Sometimes you'll find that few in between that can do things with, like, even honestly, for the most part, Brady has, we've talked about this before, Brady, Elway, who can kind of put anything around him and make it work, make it happen, get places.
Right.
Others besides those, I know we'll get into that when that time comes, but you get my point. Yeah. Murray's not. I don't see Kyler Murray being that special of a player in the end. Where, of course, you didn't see that in Brady forever ago. Now all of a sudden he is. So you never know with people. But yeah, Murray's size, it just seems like a dud move where you can go in the MLB. Right. And yes, once again, you do have to have that 2 or 3 and maybe even 5 years of working your way up and only maybe making $5 million over that 5 years.
Right. So it's kind of interesting.
But then eventually you get $300 million.
Right.
Even $200, $150 million. But that's all guaranteed. You get that in the NFL if you get it. It's not all even guaranteed.
Okay, listen. I'd much rather be sitting in Bryce Harper's shoes right now.
Exactly. Than any NFL. Well, if money-wise.
Yeah.
Even health-wise.
Than any NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Unless you're Tom Brady.
But that's an
exception.
Unless you're Tom
Brady.
That's an exception.
Oh, yeah, I know. I thought you were going to laugh because you know what I mean? Because of his wife, life.
But you know what?
It's like the Michael Jordans. You were going to get that once in every 20, 30 years. You're getting that one.
Right. So what we like to do is hold up the exception and try to treat it like the norm, and it's not.
But Brady's career is, so maybe, I'm just saying, just because me thinking of stocks, so that's the other thing, obviously. I'm a stock trader now. So one's doing this because his career is on, even though it looks like he's still going to do this, but you get my point. Maybe it could be that one where he's the one of this era, or well, the one era, Brady going down, where I'm just, me trying to be optimistic for him, but we'll see. I can't wait to love to see how we talk about this and see how it plays out over the following months. But I had to get into those 3 because that is coming up. The draft's coming up later this month, so I had to talk about that move, which happened earlier in March. Spring training, opening day. You went to spring training. Opening day is upon us. NBA playoffs all up on. So we've got 3 major sports really kicking up. March Madness. We're going to be talking about the national championship game essentially. March Madness we'll talk about in the couple other shows that we'll drop today. By the time we drop show 4, we're going to have update on Robert Kraft.
Yep.
We're going to have an update on who's going to be in the national championship game for March Madness.
Yep.
What the seeding is in the MLB or NBA for the playoffs. And we're really going to see the shakeup of where players land in the NFL.
Yeah.
So these first 3 shows are going to be kind of teasing, getting ready for that.
Yeah.
And show 4 will be all about what happens essentially on April 1st.
Yeah.
Right around that time period.
And don't we have
now?
Mr. Golfer? Don't we have the Masters coming up here?
Masters, thank you. Once again, one of my main loves and passions was Tiger. So hopefully he just had to withdraw from a tournament in March because of a neck. And one of the favorites he always plays in the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So hopefully and I bet that's what he's going to do. And we'll see as time tells, the other shows that we do, if that's what he ends up wanting to do is take time off and get prepared for the Masters. Because, I'd love to see him. He pulled it together last year and won the Players. Remember the last tournament of the year? That's huge to win. That's essentially the 5th major. Right. Even though they call the Players Championship in May the 5th, so they've always called that the 5th championship. But now, really, in the end, either one of those can. Because you get my point. The talent that's in it. You're with the top 30 in the world,
right?
Or whatever it is that make that last one, and they're all fighting out to win it. And if he would have won that, or I should say, if the person I get my point, he was that close. He finished second, I think. You get my point. He was that close to winning the whole thing. Winning the points in the whole entire thing because of winning that tournament because he was on fire at the end of last year.
Well, we'll see, man.
So, it'll be interesting to see.
Father Time.
It does chase us all, unfortunately.
Yep.
Even me, I'm starting to feel it. I'm like, man, woke up today, get the little crick in the back of the shoulder blade area. You're like walking like this for about an hour until you get in the oh, man. Hate it. I hate it. Thank you for everyone listening to Stud and Dud. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm going to get that page probably going, but definitely
website,
studanddud.com. On YouTube, I'll be putting clips on there. How you doing? Right here. We got the show every week, so we'll have clips heading out there. So April 1st, though. April 1st, boom, 3 shows today. Listen to them, guys. Thanks for listening. I'm Josh Smith.
I'm Dr. Bob Lawrence.
Until next time.
All right. Can we reach it, bro?
Maybe we should pull the chairs together next time. Here. Till then, pow, air pump.
There you go, buddy.